Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, preppers prepping outside the box. It is Josh, and we're going to be talking about a little mentality subject, a little mental preparedness, as it were. And it's warfighting is a profession. And right before I get into that, if you guys don't mind doing the whole like, subscribe, share, all that stuff, I really appreciate it because I love talking to you guys, conversing back and forth, and hearing different viewpoints. It's awesome. It helps everybody grow together. But anyways, getting back to it, so warfighting is a profession. And like all professions, like most professions at least, warfighting is time consuming. It is with preparing and learning and training and doing all those things, right? It takes a level of skill. And I would say depending on your level of skill, whatever you've done to put into this profession, depending on that level of skill depends on where you're at, determines how, what you do in that profession. Or what you can do. I would say a lot of jobs can maybe be mentally draining or emotionally or physically draining. I think warfighting as a profession is all of those. I think it's mentally, physically, and emotionally draining. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it depending on what aspect of it you're in and all that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of things that are considered. And I think it's all of those. So how does one prepare? How does one work on the profession of warfighting? And I would say in this one, the first and foremost is physical. Physical being your ability to get the job done. If you don't have that, for one, you're going to be on a different level, and we're trying to overall better ourselves in the entirety of the profession, right? So physical, work on your physical preparedness. I think it's key. I talk about it all the time, and I talk about it for a reason. Physical preparedness is going to be your difference between possibly accomplishing and failing at something. I would go back to mental also, or not back to, next would say mental, and that'd be your knowledge of strategies and tactics and things like that, your knowledge of what to do. And then on top of that, you've got your continued education. So learning from past conflicts, learning from large and small, not just some massive war, but the smaller battles, the smaller conflicts. After action reports, so you can see what happened. Well, not see, but read what happened about Force A fighting Force B and the tactics they used, the strategies, and how the outcome happened. And you learn from all these things, right? You learn from your various enemies, from the past, from the current. And you study them and you learn what they do and how they act and how they react. You learn about weapons and gear, and you basically learn ways to accomplish the mission, right? To accomplish your job. So continue education on top of, or a caveat from the mental side of it, the knowledge of strategy and tactics at the warfare side. Another big one I think is psychological, and I separated mental and psychological because I think it is different, obviously. Mental being the knowledge, like I was saying, but physically, or psychologically, I think you need to be able to understand the hardships that you'd be dealing with, that you'd be seeing, that you'd be doing, the chaos that would surround you. That way, well, basically I'll say it this way, the hardships that you'd be seeing and doing and being around, because it can, for one, emotionally, it can be mentally draining. The chaos around you, so you can stay focused and you don't get tunnel vision, you don't break down from what you're doing, you don't freeze, you don't hinder your reaction to what you're supposed to do because something over here happened, and as a team, you can't let down, your side, right? So the chaos of it. And then understanding and being able to harness violence. And I've talked about violence before, how violence is a tool in your toolbox, and it is. And understanding what violence is and what people are capable of and what people can do and what you can do with violence is a tool in your toolbox. It's key. So understanding and being able to harness that, using violence as a weapon, as it were, is another big aspect that you need to learn on top of working on your profession, right? So something that warfighting as a profession is something that's always improved on, and it's never mastered. And I don't care who you are, someone out there, no matter what, at least in some aspect of it, whether it be mental, physical, their education, their psychological mindset, their preparedness in some factor. Somebody out there is better at you than something. Hopefully it's less than all of them, but somebody's always better than somebody. No one's the overall master at it, at the craft, at the profession of warfighting. Whether it be because they had more time or opportunity, or the time they invested into learning, or whatever it was, somebody's got you on some aspect of it. Doesn't mean that you are, you give up or anything like that. It doesn't mean any of that. It just means that there's, no matter what you do, know that you must continue your education, because there's other people that are doing it. And if they're continuing to get better and you only do so much to understand a little bit, and this person's excelling further and further past you, then there's way too much of a gap, and I think it puts you at a disadvantage. So, like I was saying, it doesn't mean you don't continue to excel in the profession. As when, and I say when, the time comes, what you've gained in the past and what you do from this point forward can determine the outcome of so much more on a larger scale. So I'll leave it at that, and I will see you guys tomorrow.